We're at Luton Airport. We're in Coronado's Embraer Phenom 300 bizjet, and today we're doing a short ferry flight down to London City Airport. Welcome back to the channel. Today you find us at Luton Airport on stand number 48, and today we're doing a ferry flight down to London City, which is not a very long flight. It's quite short in terms of both distance and time. But the purpose of the ferry flight, obviously in the sim world, it is to move the aircraft to London City to pick up passengers, but in the real world, it is to demonstrate performance. I've been fiddling with different performance settings, different tweaks, different detail levels for quite a few weeks now, trying to get the best performance that I could. I have the sim running in extremely dense scenery complexity, which is something I could never have even considered before. And I have quite a lot of the graphical bells and whistles turned on. What I've sacrificed, what I've turned off, I've turned down draw distance to medium, level of detail radius to medium, and I have, in this case, turned off autogen altogether. I might well put autogen back on when I'm not flying around London, but in the London area, the scenery is so detailed that when you're on extremely dense, you have so many buildings, you just don't need autogen anyway. So it's a bit of a trade-off, but it seems to be working for me. And I thought, do my final proof of concept flight, and I'd actually film that so that you can see what I've achieved. This particular routing from Luton down to London City was suggested to me by my good friend Joe. So Joe, this one's for you. You are my virtual co-pilot, so welcome aboard. And it is just me and Joe in the aircraft today, so I'm going to shut the door and then we can get on with our flight. Alright, we are in the cockpit. As you can hear, the systems are already up and running. And actually I've been through all the basic checklists, so we are now ready to talk on the radio. There is no voice ATIS today, because we're not running Active Sky. I'm not running Active Sky for a couple of reasons, but mostly I want complete, precise control over the weather to set the conditions for the flight exactly as I want. So I'm using a weather theme, and that ensures that I'll get exactly the runways that I want and approaches and so on and so forth. But it does mean there's no voice ATIS. Voice ATIS. So I just need to tweak the environmental controls in the aircraft. Landing field elevation is 500 feet right here. And then the outside air temperature is 32 degrees. Because this is emulating the weather we had last week when it was really, really hot. So outside air temperature 32, ATR on is correct, and everything else looks good on the status page. Alright, well, we're now ready to go over to clearance delivery and ask for our clearance, so let's do that.
Clearance delivery, BRT1161. Parking position, Terminal 1, Gate 48, with the ATIS for request clearance.
British 1161. Expect clearance within 2 minutes.
Roger, BRT1161.
British 1161. Are you ready to copy?
We are ready, go ahead.
British 1161. Roger, runway 07. Climb and maintain 4000. Expect 5000 within 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 126.15. Squawk 7211. QNH 1009.
Cleared to GW via vectors. Climb into 4000, expect 5000 within 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 126.15. Squawk 7211. QNH 1009. BRT1161.
British 1161. Read back correct. Contact ground control on 121.75.
Roger, 121.75. BRT1161.
And we'll go to ground. Okay, so we're pretty much ready now to ask for our startup and pushback, so let's do that.
Ground BRT1161. Request start up and pushback.
British 1161. Start up and pushback approved.
Approved. BRT1161.
Alright, so I'm going to talk to GSX and ask them to prepare for pushback. In they come. While that's happening, I'm going to get the GPU off. And set the seatbelt signs on.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Let's get the instruments up. Okay. Marshaller will lock my gear. And then we'll be ready to begin pushback. So, pitot heat on, beacon light on. Well, beacon light armed, it comes on when the engine starts. This is UK 2000's Luton, by the way. Luton HD2020 is their new version of Luton from their new P3D V4 Plus, all bells and whistles, PBR range.
Completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Great airport, but it is a little bit taxing.
Release parking brakes.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing push.
Okay,
All engines clear.
push starts.
Start at will.
Let's go to the cockpit camera. And I'm going to prep the engines. And let's start number 2. You can watch the M1 N2 climb. We'll get ignition at 20% N2. And that will set the generators going. There we go. Aircon can come on. Yeah, that's a good start, number 1. Let's start, sorry, number 2. Let's start number 1.
Set parking brakes.
Parking brake set.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Confirm good start. Right, while he disconnects me, I am going to set flaps 1. Ready for takeoff. Turn on flight director. Enter an initial vertical speed of 1800 feet per minute. Set the heading. Set heading mode. So we'll be putting in the autopilot pretty shortly after takeoff. Course today, if you look at the MFD there,
Tow truck disconnected.
it's a bit of a zigzag
Bypass
shape.
pin removed.
We're going out on a runway 07 out towards Nugbo. I'll probably cut the corner off there. And then we will be heading down towards Heathrow, which is LON is the VOR at Heathrow. But again, we won't go all the way there. When we get to Elstree, which is pretty much directly under the course, I will ask for clearance onto the approach, which will be to ILS 09, and then we will go straight onto the approach. Right, left is clear and right is clear. Thank you for that, GSX. So we're now ready to ask for our taxi. Just check the flight controls are free and clear. They are. Let's ask for taxi.
Ground BRT1161. Request taxi.
British 1161. Taxi 5 Alpha Bravo to runway 07.
Via Alpha Bravo to runway 07. BRT1161.
Right, now when taxi lights on, parking brake off. Everything looks good for departure. Brakes look good, so away we go. We put in a decent amount of power to begin with, just to overcome our ground inertia, and then I'm going to pull the power back to just what we need to actually taxi. Never been the other way, but there's quite a lot more scenery the other way. At some point I'm going to try a flight where I park somewhere over there. There's the big orange EasyJet hangar and a few other well-known sites. I've actually never been to Luton Airport in the real world in order to fly, but I'm aware of things like the big orange EasyJet hangar that they have here. Got some building work going on over there. Try and stay on the centre line, Neil, if you can. So I guess the big news this week is the release of Microsoft Flight Simulator. So by now I guess some of you will have already tried it, and if not, you probably will have seen videos about it. And whilst I'm not released from my NDA as a tester, there's basically a perpetual NDA about what went on during the test period. I guess I'm a lot freer to talk about it now, so it'll be fairly evident that it is a real game changer in many ways. You know, the graphics are just absolutely next generation. The way that the scenery has been generated, just the fidelity of it. Even the auto-gen is generally pretty good, although there have obviously been people pointing out some of the more egregious mistakes. A lot of cities are mostly auto-gen because they don't have photogrammetry data. So for example, London is one of those. Despite being a major world city, Bing does not have 3D data for it. So most of the buildings, apart from a few hand-created POIs, have been placed there by the AI, and that led to Buckingham Palace ending up being what looked like a block of flats, which a lot of people pointed out early on, and that is a bit disappointing. However, at least in the case of London, Orbex has come to the rescue with their London Landmarks pack, which basically overpopulates London with many buildings. That a lot of the buildings are obviously derived from this scenery, from the True Earth GB South, but there's a lot more buildings on there than there are in True Earth GB South, at least in terms of real detailed buildings. There's the orange hangar over there. So, you know, this whole idea that you can see your house wherever it is in the world, that doesn't really work. You can see your house if it happens to be in the right scenery area, or you can see a building that will probably resemble your house, but certainly won't be actual photogrammetry data of your house. And of course there are people having a moan about the flight model, as always. There are people having a fairly legitimate moan about the airliners and the fact that the systems in particular are not very complete and don't work that well. But you got to remember, this is the start of a product that, unlike previous versions of Flight Sim, is not going to be, you know, updated once every other year. It's going to be updated constantly, so they can address these problems. At some point they have to draw a line and say, this is our minimum viable product, and they did, but that means of course it's not perfect. And for home cockpit builders, I'm afraid the bad news is that it just does not have features that we need. So the most important and most disappointing, I suppose, is that it doesn't support multiple outside view windows. So whether on the same screen or across multiple screens, doesn't support multiple screens, doesn't support multiple view windows, which makes a lot of the trickery that we do to get, you know, big wraparound displays or multiple LCDs at different angles, all of that trickery, you know, the stuff that P3D View Groups enables, none of that is possible in Microsoft Flight Sim at the moment. So let's just be clear, I don't expect that situation to persist forever. Asobo, the studio that built it, have already said that they plan on adding multi-view support for cockpits, but they just don't know when. You know, it's not top of their feature list because we are a very small community, and I suppose that's only fair.
Tower BRT1161, holding short at runway 07, ready for departure.
British 1161, line up runway 07.
Lining up runway 07, BRT1161.
Okay, we're clear to enter the runway. Strobe light's just gone on. We're not going to backtrack, just going to turn left and take off from here. There's more than enough runway.
British 1161, wind 040 at 5, runway 07, cleared for takeoff. Good flight.
Runway 07, cleared for takeoff, BRT1161.
Alright, taxi light off, landing light on, final check. All looks good. Let's roll. Let the M1 stabilise. Engines are stable. Takeoff power is set.
Knots. Rotate. V2.
Tower Wizz Air
We're airborne.
2601. On final, request landing. Runway 25.
Clear up Wizz Air.
2601.
Yeah,
Clear
coming
for
up.
land, runway 25. QNH 1009er.
Cleared for land, runway 25.
See that? Should not happen.
1009er. Wizz Air 2601.
Alright, flaps coming up.
British 1161. Contact departure on
Thrust
126.15.
126.15, BRT1161. Departure BRT1161.
Right.
With you,
Autopilot in.
900 for 4,000.
British 1161. Climb and maintain 5000.
Climb and maintain 5,000, BRT1161.
British 1161. Turn left heading 060.
Left turn to heading 060. Continue on navigation to NUGBO BRT1161.
Sri Lanka
Nav mode in.
503. Expedite climb 2, flight level 70. Expedite climb 2, flight level 70. Sri Lankan 503. Thompson
So
5117.
why exactly is landing
Maintain
somebody on runway 25? I do not know.
5117.
That must be an AI problem. Never mind. He's just coming past me right now. I think I'll be able to see him because he's below me. Right, let's see if we can cut the corner off the course here.
Request direct to LON BRT1161.
British 1161. Clear direct to LON VOR. Turn right heading 205. Climb to 5000. Continue on navigation.
Cleared LON VOR. Right turn to heading 205. Climb into 5000. Continue on navigation BRT1161.
Alright, we are coming around, which means London will come into view very soon, and I expect a few stutters when that happens.
Thompson 5117. Maintain present altitude.
Present altitude.
Right, we're at
5117.
cruise, so landing lights can come off. Just managing the speed so we don't overspeed. see London in front of us now. You won't be able to see it from the camera. It's with the haze and the resolution, it's a little, the building's a little bit too small. There's only a couple of them anyway. That sort of white area here, that is Heathrow. Some buildings will appear on there in due course. Okay, we are en route. So as I was saying before takeoff, Microsoft Flight Simulator, unfortunately, no multi-view. Also, you can't currently pop out instruments like the G1000, G3000, PFD, and keypads and things like that. And that is essential, really, for many home cockpit builders, unless you're running completely separate panels, which you might be if you're running something like 737, but if you're doing something generic like me, you need to be able to pop the panels out, and unfortunately, you can't do that.
Thompson 5117.
So to be honest, for the moment, Microsoft Flight Simulator is not really very useful for home cockpit builders. Now I'll be interested to see how people try and get around these problems, because I know that they will. And maybe there'll be some interesting ideas come out of there, but fundamentally we're waiting for a SOBO to implement some additional features. So for right now, it's very firmly a desktop sim, but it is a revolutionary one, there's no question about it. You know, there's no point in being a naysayer. It is revolutionary and it's got a huge potential, so I'll keep following it, and I may or may not actually buy a copy to run on my desktop. So if you saw that stutter there, that was quite a big stutter. We'll get a few as we come in. But until it's ready to be adapted into the cockpit, it's going to be P3D V5 for the foreseeable future. So don't be looking for any Microsoft Flight Simulator content on this channel, because you're unlikely to get any anytime soon. But there are plenty out there that will give you exactly that, if that's what you want. Alright, so you can no doubt see there's London laid out ahead of us, and I've deliberately chosen to come in at dusk
Thompson
for some good lighting effects.
Descend to 5,000.
And we might even get some runway lights if we're lucky,
Thompson 5117.
if I've judged the time correctly. Oh, there's Heathrow being drawn.
Present altitude, Sri Lankan 503.
So I'm going to put in the approach procedure, ILS09 and vectors, and then I'm going to tune the VOR,
01, with you passing 3,500 for flight level 8.
and I'm picking up the ILS.
86, maintain present altitude.
And we're coming up on Elstree shortly, so I'm going to make the request to go onto the approach early. Okay. So I clearly wasn't listening properly, because they're telling me ILS27.
Flight level 80.
For these ones, that is very odd. But that's alright, we can change that.
Present altitude, easy 840, 1380. Climb to flight level 80.
Climbing to flight level 80, 1380.
If I get a word in edgewise, which of course is very hard to do.
Present altitude, speed bird 786.
Request 09, BRT1161. British 1161. Contact London, approached on 132.7. 132.7, BRT1161.
Alright, I should be able to get the right runway from this guy.
Approach BRT1161 with you at 5,000.
British 1161. Expect ILS approach runway 09.
There we go.
ILS
Approach runway 09, BRT1161.
And then we'll immediately ask for transition. Direct to waypoint
Request
CFO9.
direct FC CF09 BRT1161.
That's
British
Heathrow.
1161. Clear direct to CF09 VOR. Turn left heading 125. Maintain present altitude. Continue own navigation. Climb and maintain 2000.
Cleared CF09 VOR. Left turn to heading 125. Present altitude.
Continue own navigation.
Calm down.
Maintain 2000.
ILS.
Approach. Runway 09 BRT1161.
We'll put the speed brake out so I don't pick up extra speed in the descent.
786.
Because I need to hold back a little bit.
4000. Speedbird 786.
Easy 840. Descend to flight level 60. Descending to flight level 60. Easy 840.
And there we have it. There is London. Now, I'm not actually bothering to display the frame rates. I would figure that they're probably early 20s right now.
British 1161.
I've actually got the frames locked at 25,
Climb and maintain 2000 BRT.
which is a lot lower than I would normally go, but it's what you can actually manage reasonably smoothly here. But there will be some stutters, so don't expect it to be stutter-free. There's Hyde Park. I think we'll be turning over Hyde Park onto the actual approach course. And when we hit 2,000 feet, you'll let the aircraft bleed off some speed, and then I'm going to put out the flaps
Easy 840.
and
Maintain
switch on to
present
the approach.
altitude. Present altitude. Easy 840.
So in order to do that, I need to activate the approach. So the approach is now active in the G1000. We're still on heading mode, so we're not going to make any
Slow
turns
to
yet.
140 knots. Slowing down to 140. 1380.
Right, here we come down to 2,000 feet.
503. Contact tower
Put the
on
landing lights on now.
118.07. 118.07. Sri Lankan
Got a little bit
503.
of turbulence here. That is as I set the weather.
British
There's
1161.
Battersea Power Station ahead of us.
Maintain 2000.
Got Parliament over there and London Eye.
Climb and maintain 2000
I'm gonna go flap one.
BRT1161.
And put a bit of power in.
British 1161. Maintain present altitude. QNH 1009.
Present altitude. QNH 1009 BRT1161.
Right, let's go around onto the course. There is Hyde Park. Ahead of us, there's the London Eye. How's the Parliament? And you can see central London now. You get a slightly better view on this camera, I think.
British 1161. Descend to 2000.
Let's go flaps 2.
Descend into 2000. Cleared approach. Tower at the marker. 118.07 BRT1161.
Let's go 118.07 for the
Easy
tower.
840. Descend to 4000. Descending to 4000. Easy 840. British 1161. Contact tower on 180.07.
118.07 BRT1161. Tower BRT1161.
Check it out.
On final, runway 09.
It's quite a thing, isn't it?
British 1161. Slow to, final approach speed. QNH 1009. Clear to land, runway 09.
Final approach speed. QNH 1009. Clear to land, runway 09. BRT1161.
Let's slow down a bit again. See buildings we recognise there. We've got the Shard, we've got the walkie-talkie, we've got the Leadenhall building, some of the new buildings. Got some traffic there. Oh, quite close. Surprised the T-Cuss isn't going off. Right, I'm going to go to the localizer. And I'm going to arm the approach mode. Now remember, this is a 5.5 degree glide slope at London City, so it's going to come in late. There's the Olympic Stadium. So it's going to come in late and it's going to be steep. So I'm gradually letting myself slow down, but not too far. As we get under 130 knots in this aircraft, it starts to go a little bit nose up. Gears coming down. Flaps 3 coming out. Alright, we're looking good for landing. Here comes the glide slope. And down comes the nose. Right, we'll go flaps full. We will pick up a little bit of speed, but I got the speed brakes out to arrest us. Oh, good view of the Olympic Park over there. But I mean, look at this, right? This is pretty much what I bought, what I made this sim to do, this approach. I can only imagine what it's like, what it will be like eventually to do it in Microsoft Flight Sim with the level of detail they've got. That'll be something quite special. Okay, idle thrust, bleed off some speed. As I want my VREF to be about 125 knots. Right, so flaps are set, gear is down, lights are set. We are ready for landing.
$500.
Here we come. Gonna keep the autopilot until 300. We're at 116 knots. So 110 is going to be my final VREF. A little bit late coming down.
British 1161, gate is right. Contact ground on 123.55.
123.55, BRT1161.
Alright, 123.55. Let's clean up the flaps. And the speed brakes in. Landing light off, taxi light on. And we'll turn out the turning circle here. So that was an okay-ish landing. I did flare a little bit too much, to the extent that I actually pulled away from the runway, but I was descending a little bit quickly. So I just missed the landing zone, but not by much. All in all, I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm certainly pretty happy with the performance. I mean, look at it. This is London in True Earth GB South in extremely dense settings, running on a sim with 2 outside views, and it's reasonably smooth. I'm not saying there's been no visual stuttering at all. You may see some stuttering on the recording, by the way, that is not there in the real world. Frame rates and synchronization of cameras being what it is. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. Shame we didn't get the runway lighting, but it's not, the runway lighting is not very spectacular in this scenery anyway, so come off here. Nose wheel steering is being a bit exuberant. Strobe lights off. And let's ask for our taxi.
1161 is cleared off the runway. Request taxi for parking.
British 1161, taxi via Charlie to Terminal 1 parking position 1.
Via Charlie to Terminal 1 parking position 1, BRT1161.
Alright, well I know where I'm going. So normally, with a private jet like this, you would park at the jet centre, right down the far end there. And there's a few spots for jets to park. But just for the fun of it, I'm going to actually park at the gate and try to do the turn on the spot manoeuvre you have to do. However, I know full well in this aircraft I cannot actually turn on the spot, so I'm going to need to turn a ways early. So you'll see what I mean in a minute. Just look at it though. This is brilliant. Right, so it is gate 1 we're going to be at, and normally you turn left at the numbers there, but I am going to need to turn left a little bit earlier than that. In fact, I'm going to turn left around about here. I'm going to turn way beyond 90 degrees. And we'll start the right turn around about now. I wonder how close I'm going to get. That does not feel too bad to me. Right, parking brake on. Why don't we just nip out and see how we did. So, oh yeah, that's not bad. I'm a little way off to the left, you know, but I'll take that. When I've got something like the Embraer E-Jets plumbed in, or if I bring back the BA 146, both of which should be able to do the 90-degree nose wheel manoeuvre, then we'll be able to try that for real. And on the Orbex London City scenery, which I don't have running at the moment because it's not P3D V5 compatible yet, but when it is, they actually have like proper turn indicators, so that should make that parking a bit of a breeze. Look forward to that. Anyway, here we are at London City, so welcome. This was by way of demonstration of the performance that I could get. I think that was pretty good, I really do. You know, for the scenery density levels that we have, London looks fantastic, and the approach was smooth, and I really enjoyed it. So you'll be seeing more of London on the channel, obviously. We'll be able to use it as a starting point and as an arrival point in P3D V5 going forward. So thank you as always for sticking with me. If you like the video, then do of course feel free to click the like button. All helps with the algorithm. Engine's going off now. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, then hit the subscribe button. But if you do, I recommend you also hit the bell icon to get a notification when I publish a video, because the video schedule on this channel is relatively infrequent. Look, the lights have come on just after I arrived. Damn it. Yeah, the schedule here is relatively infrequent. I don't publish videos on a massively regular schedule. I do them when I've got the time, which means it has to fit around work and life and everything else. So let's put on the ground power. There we go. So you get them when I can make them, but I will try and make more. Obviously, now I'm at home, I've been able to take more footage. I haven't really got many completed videos out of it, if I'm being honest. A lot of the footage I didn't think really worked out well. But the next video on the channel is likely to be a tutorial on creating a multi-channel system with Wideview, and that was something I was asked to do on a previous video. And after that, we'll be resuming the cross-country tour in the C172, heading up from the Isle of Wight and heading out towards Bristol, and then from Bristol we'll probably head out towards Oxfordshire and those sorts of areas, and then have a look at the Midlands. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me, and I look forward to seeing you back on the channel very soon.